lit. Roll up to the party, roll up to the party.
This weekend, Celtic travel across the city to play in the first Glasgow derby of the season. Yes, we play Sevco, the Rangers versus Celtic this weekend. Let's look back at last weekend first of all. Let's face it, last weekend was pretty frustrating as a Celtic fan, but as you look at the fixtures at the start of the season, you're thinking, you know, the St Johnstone game should really have been a banker. It should have been 3 points. Celtic usually, if they're going to drop points at this stage of the season, it is places like Castle Grayskull. You know, maybe Aberdeen and maybe Hearts and Hibs, you've a chance of dropping 2 points. But dropping points against St Johnstone came as a bit of a shock, considering we did have 75% possession. We had Matt O'Reilly missed a few chances. Was that due to the keeper being good, or should Matt O'Reilly have done better? I think the keeper had a fantastic game personally, and it's probably one that you should look out for. We did have 19 corners. We had a lot of possession. So does that bode well going into the Celtic game this weekend in Ibrox? You know, they wasted a lot of time at the weekend to basically make sure that the flow of Celtic's play wasn't as coherent as what it could have been. The keeper, you know, going down with cramp twice, it should have been taken off. The things that we need to watch for this weekend is time wasting and the manipulation of the referees. Certainly, it has been a bit of a disappointing start to the season, but, you know, chin up Celtic fans. As it stands, we're top of the league, and, you know, we haven't had a full team. We've lost 3 absolutely cracking players right out of the first team, and Cameron Carter-Vickers is obviously out due to injury. Jota, Carl Starfelt and Aaron Moy. Now, if you take those 4 players out of any Celtic team over the last couple of years, they would have struggled. And the fact that we haven't been at our best, you know, we are trying to get people in, but I'm going to go for a draw this weekend. The Rangers versus Celtic game is always one of the biggest ones of the season, and they always say the next one's the biggest one. You know, losing the game, even if we were to lose the game, it wouldn't be completely devastating because it is that early in the season, and we will have time to make it up. You know, the fact is that we dropped a couple of points is disappointing from last weekend, but the fact that there won't be any Celtic supporters at all at the game this weekend, and I fully back the club and all the supporters groups for not taking fans to Ibrox, because let's face it, chucking bottles, lighters and everything else that they've thrown, and missiles that's been thrown at Celtic fans over the last couple of seasons is outright disgraceful. And the fact that you have to remember as well, the reason that they reduced the allocation back in 2019 is because we were winning all the time. And let's face it, the last 20 years has pretty much been Celtic domination within the Scottish League, and they can't handle it. The fact that we've been financially secure as well. So going into the weekend, we might have a few players coming in. But let's talk about the Champions League first of all. It looks like Celtic are going to gain even more money from the Champions League this year. We're going to gain €1.137 million, all down to the Lisbon Lions. This is, they'll hate this as well. But let's face it, Rangers died chasing what we achieved. They died chasing the dream that we already have lived. You know, Galatasaray qualifying from the Champions League. Celtic are 3 points above them with the 10-year ranking used to set the coefficient payment that we get. Now, the fact that we are above them gives us an extra 1.137 million, and you know, that's 4 bonus points. We get them. The reason that we are above Galatasaray is we get 4 bonus points for winning the European Cup. Yes, for winning the big one. That's the reason that we have that star on our Celtic shirt. You know, you could put fake 5 ones on all you want, but the fact is the star around the world in European football basically is if you've won the big cup. And we did win the big cup. We're going to the draw tomorrow, and we will be doing a live for the draw tomorrow. There'll also be a live at 5:15 Celtic Park time this evening. We'll talk a little bit more if there's been any updates on transfers. The only one that's kind of a new one that's kind of come out is the one from the guy from Benfica, Paulo Bernardo. You know, it's a similar deal to Jota. We're going to get him in on loan, and if he's successful, we could get him on a loan to buy deal, which would be fantastic for Celtic if he's just as good as Jota. got to remember, Jota wasn't the first team regular in for the Portuguese side either. Neither is this guy. So who is Paulo Bernardo? He's a central midfield player. He can also operate in the sort of same position as what Tom Rogic did. And he has been capped for Portugal. He's got 56 youth caps for Portugal. But he's yet to make an international debut. A bit like Jota. And you've got to remember, Jota hadn't made a first team appearance for Benfica either when he came to Celtic. So if we do get him in, it could be a good thing. But then again, we're struggling against time now. You know, we will probably more than likely get some players in before the end of the window on Friday evening. But you know, it is the fact that it is another player coming on loan, and we're kind of hoping that we're going to buy players in. Bernardo was loaned out to another Portuguese side last season. He scored 2 goals, creating 2 assists, which was good for him. You know, he's not as prolific as Jota has been at Celtic, but you never know. You never know. You just never know. We might get a player in the door that does it. As the clock ticks down to what has been an underwhelming, yes, it's like a stuck record, transfer window this summer. I mean, a lot of people in the comment section of the channel are sort of fed up the way that this window has went. It would be good just to get some more players in, because let's face it, we are a little bit short in the terms of quality, and we really need them in. The fact that we're trying to get another goalkeeper in this late in the day is a bit of a disappointment on the half of Celtic. But if we can get this guy in and we can get a few faces in before the weekend, ideally we would have wanted them in today at the latest, because let's face it, you want a couple of days training with the team, and especially if they're going to go in to the squad and be first team ready for the weekend. You want the players in on the Wednesday, you know, get the deal done, maybe training on the Thursday, training on the Friday, or if they have the day off on the Friday and then they're back in training Saturday before the game on Sunday. You know, you really want the players in and try and just get a bit of a feel for the squad. And that's the only worrying thing, that we're going to go in and we're not going to have any new players that are going to be playing. But we'll have to go with the team that we've got. We'll talk about the team probably tomorrow evening on the live. On the Friday Night Live, I always like to talk about the team then and get in our score predictions.
Hey, subscribe to One Celtic Fans View. Hail, hail.
Hail. See you later.
All right, thanks.
Lit. Roll up to the